So, I have shared a PDF with you, that is the approaches to reading comprehension. Just open the PDF. So basically what I have already told you, that we should have a proper chalked out strategy about how much time we are going to spend in which section, and we have to keep in mind that we have to do the answers in English language and GK, general knowledge part, as early as possible, so that we can contribute much more time in legal reasoning, and especially in analytical reasoning and mathematical operations, because in this part we have to apply our brain, our analytical thoughts, and we have to do the calculations in quantitative aptitude and logical reasoning part also. So it is going to consume much more time. That's why a proper chalked out plan is important. So today we are going to discuss what are the approaches to reading comprehension. So come to the PDF. Stage 1. This is the initial engagement with the reading comprehension passage. And reading comprehension, it is not only concerned about English language, as in CLAT, in every subject almost we are getting a particular paragraph. Okay, so what we are going to learn from it is not only relevant to the English language part, but from the other sections as well. In any aptitude test, it is critical to decide whether to attempt a set of questions or not. It is also important to make rough estimate of how long it will take you to solve a set of questions and gauge what to expect from the passage. Stage 1 describes the initial set of impressions and takeaways from a passage. The adjacent figure enumerates the points readers need to concentrate on at this stage. Once through with this stage, you should have an initial estimate of how comfortable you will be attempting the passage, whether the subject matter is something you are comfortable with or not, whether the style, diction used is simple enough or will take too much time to comprehend. Depending on the nature of the examination, you can also glance at the questions at this stage to figure out if they are fact-based or inferential. So what is the difference between fact-based and inferential? Like fact-based questions are generally simple questions, like the answer is just hidden in the given facts. From the facts you have to choose the right answer. But what is inferential? Where you have to inference something, where you have to look out something from the meaning, of the words given in the passage. But in an examination like CLAT, where passages are short and where most reading comprehension questions are inferential and require an understanding of the passage over and above some specific details, you should leave the questions for later and move on to the next stage. Like when you are getting some questions, like the meaning of which you do not comprehend properly, or you have some confusion over it, so you shouldn't spend time on it, like pondering over which will be the right option or something like that. You should move on to the next question, because these kind of questions over which you have a confusion, you should try it later. Maybe if you have enough time in your hand, so you can try it later. But first, while doing the answers, if any questions come on your way or the answer of which you are not sure about, then skip it and go to the next question first. Don't waste time over your confusion. What is stage 2? This is where you begin reading the passage thoroughly. You should be on a constant lookout for patterns. What are the author's main arguments? How does she go out developing it? How does each paragraph contribute to the passage as a whole? While you can benefit from using speed reading techniques, especially by identify identifying main points in a passage. Your primary goal should be to read the passage thoroughly enough. By the time you are through with this stage, you should have a clear mental map of the RC passage. This doesn't mean you need to memorize every detail in the passage, but it does mean that you are ready to reasonably attempt inference-based questions and know where to refer back to the passage in case any specific portion is being dealt with in the question. By the end of this stage, you should be ready to attempt most inferential and tone style questions. So while reading the passages, you have to keep in mind that you have to concentrate, like, so that you need not read the paragraph twice, because you don't have enough time in your hand to go through a paragraph more than one time. So you have to put your concentration in the optimum level while reading a paragraph, so that in one time reading you can, you can understand the basic key points, or what the paragraph is all about, or what kind of message it is going to give. And when a particular paragraph is divided in 2 or 3 small paragraph as well, like in what kind of meaning is contained in each paragraph as well, so that while doing the answers you can easily relate a question to a particular part of this given passage in which the answer is hidden. So এটা একটা গেল. And what is in the stage 3, you are working in this stage when you attempt questions and need to refer back to the passage to identify some specific details. Ideally, you need to keep the time in such exercise to a minimum and will have no trouble doing so if you have a clear idea of how the passage is arranged. The structure of it is from the preceding stages. Now we will take a look at this process in action. Okay, now it will be discussed through a example, but what we are trying to infer from reading this article, that first of all, while reading the paragraph you have to concentrate so much that you need not go through the same paragraph more than one time. You have to do it in one time, concentrating, so that you can decipher the meaning or the message in the paragraph, or if the paragraph or the passage is divided in more than one shorter parts, you have to understand the keynotes in each part, so that you can relate to a particular question to that part in which the answer is hidden. And if you are finding confusion while doing a particular answer of a particular question, you have no time to ponder over it or waste your time over a particular question. What you have to do, that you have to skip and go to the next question. So what you are confident about, you have to do the answers first as early as possible, so that you can spend some time rest in your hand while for doing the difficult ones. But if you waste your time while doing a difficult question, then maybe you will have not enough time for doing the questions about which you are confident, or which actually would have brought marks for you. So there is an example through which they have delineated with all these details. Read it yourselves. Now I'm coming to the FAQs, where few questions are there and the answer is also given to you. What is question number 1? Do we need to read the entire passage to answer the questions? Before we examine the implications of this question, have a look at the table overleaf to understand the different modes of reading and their purposes. The mode of reading should be determined by the purpose for which you are reading. The level of difficulty of the material and the personal familiarity with the subject topic also determine your mode and speed of reading. That's why we are doing so much practices or trying to learn, so many things in law as well, to bridge the gap between where you are standing now and the particular time when you will be sitting in the examination hall writing down your answers. Between these two persona, we are bridging the gap by learning these things. For example, in legal reasoning, why we are reading so much sections and so much relevant laws, so that you can become familiar with the subjects, so that when the passage is in front of you, you can easily read the paragraph, you can feel familiar with the topic, because law is completely a new thing, a new subject. So we have to make you familiar with the particular subject, and on that your speed will depend, how fast you can read the paragraph and how fast you do the answers as well. The level of difficulty of the material and the personal familiarity with the subject topic also determine your mode and speed of reading. Let us assume that you are fairly familiar with the topic. In that case, you will use a combination of scanning, skimming and rapid reading to answer the questions. That means the entire passage will not be read. All reading will be only to answer the questions. Suppose you are not familiar with the topic and you find the reading difficult. In such a case, it becomes difficult to skim and scan. So first thing is that you have to be familiar with the topic. If the subject of the passage you find that is quite familiar with you, it becomes easier for you. The time taken to build familiarity with the topic will be extra in your case. However, you will also see that the entire passage is not read carefully. The answer to the above question is thus simple. You will not read the entire passage to answer the questions. Your reading in the examination will be driven by the single purpose to answer the questions and not to study and master the essay. Why read the unnecessary material and waste time? But I am not totally agreeing to the particular message given in it. But whatever passage is given to you, you are familiar with it or not? Yes, if you are familiar with it, in that particular situation it will be easier for you, but don't skip any part of the paragraph. Read it from top to bottom. But keep it in mind that I am not going to read it for twice or thrice. I have to concentrate and complete my level of understanding while reading it for the first time only. Question number 2. Do we adopt the same approach to reading all types of passages? Look at the table, different modes of reading. The mode of reading is decided largely by the purpose for which you are reading rather than by the type of material you are reading. So this is not a very important question. I think the answer to this particular question we have already discussed. So let us go to question number 3. Is it better to read the passage first or the questions first? This is an important question. This is one of the most frequently asked questions about reading comprehension. Some of you are ready to bet your life on questions first, and others vehemently assert that this practice has no particular advantage. Hence, let me answer this question upfront. All methods are correct. Your preference merely points to the comfort level that you have already built with particular method. So they're not prescribing any particular formula that you have to read the question first or you have to read the paragraph first. But if you ask me personally, I think it can be good for you just before starting reading the particular passage, just have an eye through the questions. If you can do that, like while reading the paragraph, it will be in your head that to which questions you are actually going to find the answers. So just have an eye through. So it can help you while doing the answers finally. So the next question is actually about the time management. Should we skim and scan? Won't that reduce accuracy? So this is about how you are actually going to have a scrutiny over the given passage. Like first of all, you have to contribute a share of time for reading the particular passage, and then you have to choose the answers. So how much time you think you should actually contribute while reading a passage? We'll have a proper chalked out plan later. I will share with you, like totally একদম পুরো কোশ্চেন ধরে যে কোন প্যাসেজটা পড়তে কত টাইম নেব, কোন কোশ্চেনটার জন্য কতটা টাইম আমি কন্ট্রিবিউট করব, we will chalk it out. But now যেটা হচ্ছে যে একটা সামারিলি আমি বলছি যে you should contribute 5 minutes. You should contribute 5 minutes each paragraph. This is on average, because some paragraphs will be getting with which you are familiar. পড়তে গিয়েই মনে হচ্ছে এটা খুব ইজি, মানে এটা আমি জানি, but there equally some paragraphs you may get in examination to which you are not at all familiar. It will going to take some extra time. তো এই দুটোকে অ্যাভারেজ করে আমি ধরছি যে you are going to contribute 5 minutes while reading a particular paragraph, and তারপরে তোমাকে কোশ্চেন আনসার গুলো করতে হবে. সো দেখো ক্ল্যাটে হচ্ছে 120 কোশ্চেন্স অ্যান্ড মার্কস হচ্ছে 120, মানে 120 মিনিটস তোমার টাইম আর 120 মার্কস. তাহলে ফর ইচ মার্কস অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইউ আর গেটিং মোর দ্যান 1 মিনিট. তার কারণ হচ্ছে যে তোমাকে তো প্যারাগ্রাফটা পড়ার জন্য সময় দিতে হবে. তো সমস্ত প্যারাগ্রাফগুলো পড়ার জন্য তোমার যে সময়টা লাগছে সেটা 120 মিনিটস থেকে মাইনাস করে যে রেস্ট অফ দ্য টাইম যেটা থাকছে সেটাকে অ্যাকচুয়ালি 120 কোশ্চেন দিয়ে ডিভাইড করলে তোমার প্রত্যেকটা কোশ্চেনের অ্যাভারেজ টাইমটা বেরোবে. তো সেটা কিন্তু লেস দ্যান 1 মিনিট, যেটা আমি তোমাদের বলেছি যে for English language, for general knowledge, you shouldn't be contributing more than 15 seconds. Because in legal reasoning section, in analytical reasoning part, in quantitative aptitude part, এগুলোর মধ্যে there you will have some questions also which will take even more than 1 minute. It may take some difficult questions. তো সেইভাবেই কিন্তু তোমাকে পুরো টাইম ম্যানেজমেন্টটা করতে হবে. Question number 5. Should we answer some questions from all passages or all questions from some passages? So there cannot be an answer or any straight jacket formula to this specific question. It depends on your level of confidence. যে some questions from all passage আমি চুজ করব না all questions from some passage, এটা তো ডিপেন্ড করছে যে you have to keep in your mind that I have to bring marks, I have to score marks as much as possible. So at my level best, I have to, I shouldn't, leave it unfinished. যে আমি একটা পার্ট অফ দ্য কোশ্চেনকে করতে গিয়ে মানে এতটা টাইম আমি কনজিউম করে ফেললাম যে পরের 3টে প্যারাগ্রাফ আমার পড়াই হলো না. There is no time left to read the last 2 paragraphs. This should not be your approach. Your approach should be a systematic approach, a methodical approach, which is well organized and organic. যে আমি সমস্তটাই যেন ট্রাই করতে পারি, so that I can read all the paragraphs. এবার সেই প্যারাগ্রাফটা পড়তে গিয়ে একটা প্যারাগ্রাফ পড়তে গিয়ে আমার মনে হচ্ছে সেই প্যারাগ্রাফটা খুব ইজি, ওকে, I will read it as early as possible. যে কোশ্চেনগুলো মনে হচ্ছে একদম আনসারটা কনফিডেন্ট আমি করে নিলাম, যেটা করতে গিয়ে মনে হচ্ছে যে this question is quite tricky and I'm confused which will be the right answer, just skip it and go to the next question. এবার নেক্সট প্যারাগ্রাফটা পড়তে গিয়ে মনে হচ্ছে this paragraph is quite difficult and I'm not easily getting into the meaning of it, or it is quite unfamiliar. তুমি কি সেই প্যারাগ্রাফটা ছেড়ে পরের প্যারাগ্রাফে চলে যাবে? This is not my prescription. Read it. যতটা তাড়াতাড়ি যতটা কম্প্রিহেন্ড করা যায় করে ফেলো, তার মধ্যে থেকে যে কটা আনসার মনে হচ্ছে যে আমি বুঝতে পারছি, আমি লিখতে পারছি, করে ফেলো। যেটা মনে হচ্ছে যে আমার কনফিডেন্সের বাইরে, আমি ফাইন্ড আউট করতে পারছি না, সেটা ছেড়ে দাও। বাট টু স্কোর অ্যাজ মাচ অ্যাজ পসিবল, তুমি কিন্তু এরকম ভেবো না যে আমি আমার টোটাল হচ্ছে গিয়ে আমার 15 প্যারাগ্রাফস রয়েছে, আমি 10টা প্যারাগ্রাফ সব করে ফেললাম, 5টা প্যারাগ্রাফ করার টাইমই পেলাম না। সো ইউ হ্যাভ টু বি স্ক্রিউড লাইক while you are appearing in the particular exam. এটা যেহেতু টোটালি এমসিকিউ মানে এবং তোমার comprehension based examination, you have to be screwed, like your attention, your focus and concentration should be totally screwed, and you cannot achieve this level of perfection without proper planning and practice. Now হচ্ছে question number 6. দেখো, should we attempt as many questions as possible as fast as we can and get majority of them right, or attempt a limited number and concentrate on accuracy? The answer is simple and straight. Concentrate on accuracy. Attempt a limited number and ensure that you are meeting the cutoff. এবার what is the cutoff? এটাও একটা ব্যাপার কিন্তু. So the cutoff marks for CLAT, it varies year to year, and it depends on হচ্ছে in the respective year highest marksটা কত হচ্ছে, কত উঠছে, এবং হাইয়েস্ট মার্কসটা কিন্তু অলমোস্ট আউট অফ 120 লাস্ট ইয়ার, তো ইট ওয়াজ কত ছিল, মানে প্রায় 110 ছিল। তাহলে ভাবো কোন লেভেলের, কি লেভেলের পারফেকশন থাকলে ওই জায়গায় 110 আউট অফ 120 কিন্তু স্কোর করা যাবে। এটার জন্য ইউ নিড দ্য প্রপার স্ট্র্যাটেজি অ্যান্ড প্র্যাকটিস অ্যাজ ওয়েল। এবার এটার উপর ডিপেন্ড করে যে হাইয়েস্ট মার্কস কত হচ্ছে, এবার সেই বছরের পার্টিকুলার কাট অফ মার্কসটা সেট করা হয়। তো এখানে হচ্ছে গিয়ে এইবার দেখো ওই নাম্বারগুলোর যে গ্যাপিং হয়, যে হাইয়েস্ট মার্কস ধরো হলো 110, এবার পরের মার্কসটা কিন্তু 119, মানে 110 বলে 109 নয়, তার মাঝখানেও ওই 0.25 এর গ্যাপেই দেখো মানে মার্কস গুলো কিন্তু ওখানেই র্যাঙ্কিং গুলো কম বেশি হয়ে যাবে। ওই 0.25টাও কিন্তু ম্যাটার করে যাবে এখানে। এখানে ওরা বলছে attempt a limited number and ensure you are meeting the cut off. তো এটা হচ্ছে just when you are making a strategy that you have to score in such a way যে তোমার মানে লিস্টে নামটা এলো আর কি, কিন্তু that is not enough. And if you want to have a good rank as well, যে যদি তোমার প্রেফারেন্স থাকে যে আমি এই এনএলইউটাই আমার চয়েস, বা আমি চাইছি যে আমি I'm from Kolkata, I will it will be a good option for me if I can get NUJS. NUJS gives a domicile preference, but for that also you need a good rank. তো সেইটার জন্য যে আমি লিমিটেড কোশ্চেন অ্যাটেম্প্ট করব, করে শুধু কাট অফ মার্কসটাই আমি তুলে নেব, that should not be the right strategy. Yes, মানে what should be your focus, সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমি যেন রং আনসার যতটা কম করে আসি ওখানে. You have to avoid giving wrong answer, because each wrong answer is going to take away 1.25 from you. So your preference and your focus should be যে I will try to attempt as much as questions in which I'm confident, and I will try to avoid those questions in which I'm not that much confident or regarding the answer of which I have confusion. Okay, just a minute. Hello. Now come to question number 7. Should we underline while reading? There are several people who merely read and answer the questions and get most of them correct. And then there are people who underline text, important points as they read, and make it easier for themselves to locate the points later on. Whichever class you belong to, my suggestion is that since there is no thorough study of the text in the examinations, as you come across an important point or fact, highlight or underline this quickly and scan for the next important points. And as you locate them, underline them, some of you, okay, তো এখানে যেটা প্রথম কথা হচ্ছে যে you have to look যে তোমার ওই রেসপেক্টিভ ইয়ারে what are the guidelines of the examiners, এটা হচ্ছে একটা মোস্ট ইম্পর্টেন্ট কথা. যদি if you are directed that you shouldn't make any highlight or any kind of marks marking or making notes in the question paper, you are not prescribed to do so and you shouldn't do it. But if you are allowed to do it, and if you are more comfortable in reading passages in such a way that you while reading you use some you underline some key points, or this way it makes you easier, then you can do it. But the most important question is, what is the direction of the examiners? What are the guidelines? Are they allowing it to do it or not? So if you do it, if you want to do it, always look for the permission of the invigilators, okay, who are present there. Because if you are doing something which is against the rule, then you can be disqualified. So always first try to make sure that if you are allowed to do it, as if you are allowed and if you are comfortable while reading a passage in such a way, you can do it. Summarizing in the margins, এটাও একই কথা বলবো, but it can be more time confusing in comparison to underlining. Whenever you are reading and you are jotting down or taking notes of writing in words, summarize, summary of the particular passage, it can be much more time consuming. So it is not prescribed by me, at least. It is better to do, underlining if you are allowed. Question number 10. What do we do if we realize that the passage is difficult only when we have spent some time reading and trying to understand it?